Today, guys, I gotta watch some creepy videos today. Scan the tools. And get on them, and you'll see my face. And we gotta get on YouTube and try and find it. So let's go watch some creepy videos. Let's see. I forgot what he's called. Hold on. I guess we'll go watch some creepy slime stories, I guess. You wanna do that, guys? Let's watch it then.
This is why things are never as they seem. Once there was a man who didn't want to get married because he didn't want to spend money on anyone else. He thought that if he got married, he would have to pay for his wife's food, clothes, and other items, which he didn't want to do. However, one day he came across a beautiful young woman who oddly never ate a single thing. He thought this was perfect. He wouldn't have to pay for her food and she could be his wife. He quickly asked her to marry him. But of course, things are not as they seem. He noticed that his supply of food was disappearing even though he never saw his wife eat. So one day he decided to spy on her. And what he saw was terrifying. He saw his wife's hair part in the back, revealing a huge mouth on the back of her head. Her skull split open and the mouth was unnaturally wide with huge teeth. Then he watched as his wife's hair twisted into a long strand, grasped handfuls of food and shoved it into the mouth on the back of her head. When she noticed her husband, she attacked him. He managed to get away and hide in the mountains. Weeks later, when he got the courage to return, he found his wife gone and all of his food taken. The man never married again. If you're ever studying late at night, don't do what she did. One night, a girl was studying alone in the library. It was around 2 in the morning, so she was getting pretty tired. But as soon as she shifted her books around, she noticed something strange. It was a website URL written on the desk. This made her curious, so she went on one of the computers in the library and typed in the website. But what she saw sent chills down her spine. It was a photo of a woman walking down a busy street, but it looked like it was taken from a distance, and the woman didn't know that she was being photographed. This made the girl feel uneasy, so she shut down the computer, grabbed her things, and left. But the next day, she became more curious. She thought it must be some kind of a joke, but she was too tired to notice, so she went back and typed in the website again. But this time, the image had turned into something terrifying. It was the same woman lying on the floor with a knife in her chest. The girl shut off the computer and called the police. After the call, she opened the computer again, but the photo had changed. It was now a photo of a girl in a library, taken from the back. It was a photo of her looking at the website. Underneath the photo was the caption, "You are my next internet star." Do you style your hair the same way every day? Well, there's an urban legend about a woman who always wore her hair in a bun. But for her, this habit would lead to something terrifying. This woman loved wearing her hair in a bun, but she might have taken it a bit too far. She didn't want to style her hair differently or even take out her bun to clean her hair. Whenever she took a shower, she would just wear a shower cap to make sure the water didn't mess up her bun. At night, she would sleep with a towel around her hair so the bun didn't move. After a while, she had to put hairspray in it to mask the smell. Then her scalp started feeling itchy, so she would put more hairspray in it. Even when the itching got intense, she just applied more hairspray. But her husband finally found out about how bad the situation had gotten when he woke up one day and his wife was still asleep. He tried to wake her up, but she wouldn't move. She had died in the middle of the night. The husband called the police, fearing that something unusual might have happened. But when her body was examined, they finally took out her bun. Inside her hair, they found something terrifying. They found a huge spider had gotten into her hair, made a nest, and laid eggs. When the baby spiders hatched, they bit through her skull and ate her brain.
Your brain is disgusting.
Story time about why my lunch lady always hated me in high school. Never thought this would happen to me. This story takes the biggest turn at the end. Okay, so it first started off as just my lunch lady eyeing me weird whenever I would enter the cafeteria or whenever I would pay for my food. She would always give me the weirdest look. And then sometimes she wouldn't even let me get lunch. She would say, "Oh, you don't have enough money on your account." When I knew the day before I just put money in. So then I wouldn't be able to eat lunch. I reported her a couple times. Mind you, my mom works at the school. I even told my mom about it. She would just lie and be like, "I never said she couldn't get her food." Mom told me that if she ever refused...
Look at this. Squid Game. Time story time. Who touch it? Hey, guys. Sorry about that.
Alright, see you tomorrow. It's already tomorrow, you clowns. Phew. OMG, I can't believe you're snatching that boy with such...
One day I went to my friend's house for her virgin celebration. I don't really know what that's about, but her parents have this tradition of throwing a virgin celebration if their daughter is a virgin for...
Friends, I have very good news for you.
So
In my
I'll buy the
favorite
stuff,
clothing
but
store, I was able to solicit a 5% discount for you if you follow the link in the description and use my promo code, which is
watch some
also
nice
in the
clothes, but I'll try
description.
to watch the
The
side
most
video.
beautiful, cute and incredible things you can choose for yourself in this store. Deliver quickly and in excellent quality. And now to the video.
This is gonna be a story time of when my stepbrother killed our dog and fed it to me and my little sister for dinner. Let's get right into it. So my mom had died when I was younger and my dad had remarried. So I had a stepmom and she had a son.
I don't know why you put the microphone in if you got put
Not get wrong,
started.
I
It
fought with
does
him all
not
the
show any
time
sound of it. So
because he
I
was a little
absolutely
bitch.
don't know why they
Always
did that.
bully me and my little sister and make fun of our weight. Threatened to beat us up just for fun.
Drake, get over here!
Get it together. I began to
Sorry,
scold my
it's
dad
getting
because he
down.
was the one who brought them in this fucking
Get over
house
here,
and he
Drake.
wasn't doing nothing about it. He knew they were tearing our family apart and he did nothing. So, anyways, one night,
Ooh,
my parents weren't home and my stepbrother had to watch me and my little sister. Like I said, he was a little bitch, so he was upset because he had plans to hang out with his girlfriend. That really sounds like a personal problem. Let me stop coming at this man. He's just making me angry thinking about it. So my dad had sent my stepbrother money so he could go get groceries so he could make us dinner. But my stepbrother didn't want to, so he sent me instead. Oh, mind you, I was like 12 at the time. He sent me alone and my little sisters were sleeping. When I came home and knocked on the
Who's
door, I
chasing
noticed
the
that
cat?
our dog didn't run up to see who was at the door like she usually did.
They
And I
can
saw
walk
someone
around,
from
but
the
once you
kitchen,
see
like
them
part
going
2.
past,
This is gonna be part 2 of when my stepbrother killed our dog and fed
Nemos
it to me and my
or
little sister
past the
for
woods
dinner. So like I said, I got home from the
or
grocery
past
store
the
and our dog
house.
didn't run up to the door like she usually did. I didn't think much of it and then I
Okay.
smelled something coming from the kitchen. What could he possibly be cooking if there's no groceries? No, I didn't automatically think, oh, he's cooking our dog. Just hold on. Whatever was cooking on the stove smelled like shit. It made the whole house stink, but like I said, I didn't think too much of it. Now that I think of it, I heard the laundry machine going and my family had a set schedule for laundry. Like, we never did laundry off schedule, so that was kind of weird. My parents are just very organized people, besides the point. So I go upstairs to wake up my little sister and I see my stepbrother pass me and go down to the
Gotcha,
kitchen.
got cheated video.
Before going to bed.
With
In
that watch,
1986, a young
creepy
girl
dog
opens her
videos.
closet to find a man wearing a dress and holding an axe. He grabs her and ties her up, and then walks around the house and does the same thing to the rest of her family. While the guy is ransacking their house, one of the kids breaks free, runs next door, and tells his neighbor. The neighbor calls the cops show up, the family's saved, but the guy is nowhere to be found. The family leaves the house and stays with relatives in hopes that they'll catch this guy before they have to go back. But after a few weeks, they haven't caught him, there aren't any leads, and they say, you know what, we'll go back to our house anyways. As the family's pulling back into their driveway, the father looks up at one of the windows and sees for a split second the head of the man with the dress in their bedroom. They call the police, who go in and find pennies glued to the ceiling and weird writing all over the house, but they can't find this crazy guy. Until one of the officers found a secret crawl space in the basement, where psychotic killer Danny LaPlante had been living for 2 months.
Back in the Victorian era, when a family lost a child, they would make what was called a mourning doll. This was mainly for very rich families, and they would make a mourning doll to look exactly like the child that they lost. It would often be made of wax, and sometimes the hair would be taken straight from the dead body and put onto the doll to add an extra level of authenticity. Then the dolls would be put into the real crib of the child they lost. Their clothes would be changed every single day. They would be cared for like a real child to help the family cope with the loss. Back in that time, medicine was significantly less advanced, and the mortality rate for children and infants was a lot higher than it is now. A lot of kids died very young back then, so mourning dolls were a very popular thing.
Have you ever met someone who wouldn't take no for an answer? Charles became obsessed with Jillian after she blew him off at the cafe. Charles was the type of man who couldn't accept that anyone might reject him, so he found Jillian's address from the phone book and went to her house. He knocked on the door many times until he heard Jillian's voice say, "Charles, what the heck are you doing?" Charles
Drake,
replied,
get
"I don't
over
get why
here.
you wouldn't go out with
Car's
me. We had
over
such a
there."
great conversation in the cafe." Jillian replied, "I already told you, you're just not my type. But if you really want to know what my type is, I can show you." Then she opened the door. Charles stepped in. "You see that door at the end of the hallway? Go in there and you'll see the type of man I like." Charles eagerly went in and saw a staircase leading down to the basement. What happened next would shock anyone. When he got to the bottom of the stairs, he smelled a horrible rotting smell. Then he saw that he was surrounded by 12 or 13 bodies nailed to the wall. All of them were headless. On the table against the wall, their heads were arranged in a row. Suddenly, Charles felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned around and saw Jillian with an axe. Jillian swung the axe, and as Charles's head flew across the room, Jillian picked it up, looked it dead in the eye, and said, "Now you're my type."
Can even
Have you ever met someone who wouldn't take no for an answer? That's what happened to Jillian, but things took a strange and unexpected turn. Jillian always went to this one cafe, and one day she bumped into a young man. His name was Charles. Charles came from a wealthy family and thought that no woman could ever say no to him. He asked Jillian to have coffee.
Origins of the yellow smiley face.
Seemed like he wouldn't take no for an answer, but things were not so simple. One day, it was the final straw. Charles brought flowers to the cafe and waited for Jillian. When she didn't show up, Charles took the flowers, threw them on the ground, and stomped on them. He yelled, "That's it, I'm gonna make you my girlfriend if it's the last thing I do." The next day, he looked up Jillian's address in the phone book and went to her house, but he could never have expected what he would find there. Follow for part 2.
Have you guys ever heard of the sad origins of the yellow smiley face? Now, this is obviously a popular symbol worldwide, and the oldest artifact found with the smiley face on it was a picture dating to 1700 BC. But the classic form of a smiley face was invented in 1963. There was this insurance company back in the 60s that hired a graphic designer. They wanted him to create an image that would make their workplace seem more cheery. So the man literally sat down and drew a simple smiley face on a yellow background. Now, the company loved the design and ended up only paying him $45 for it. This designer did not know that it was about to become a worldwide symbol. The image quickly gained popularity, and over time, many legal battles ensued over who truly claimed ownership over this legendary design. At one time, even Walmart got involved, and it's so sad because the man who actually made this smiley face was never truly credited. His name was Harvey Ross Ball, and he was only paid $45.
Do you style your hair the same way every day? Well, there's an urban legend about a woman who always wore her hair in a bun, but for her, this habit would lead to something terrifying. This woman loved wearing her hair in a bun, but she might have taken it a bit too far. She didn't want to style her hair differently or even take out her bun to clean her hair. Whenever she took a shower, she would just wear a shower cap to make sure the water didn't mess up her bun. At night, she would sleep with a towel around her hair so the bun didn't move. After a while, she had to put hairspray in it to mask the smell. Then her scalp started feeling itchy, so she would put more hairspray in it. Even when the itching got intense, she just applied more hairspray. But her husband finally found out about how bad the situation had gotten when he woke up one day and his wife was still asleep. He tried to wake her up, but she wouldn't move. She had died in the middle of the night. The husband called the police, fearing that something unusual might have happened. But when her body was examined, they finally took out her bun. Inside her hair, they found something terrifying. They found a huge spider had gotten into her hair, made a nest, and laid eggs. When the baby spiders hatched, they bit through her skull and ate her brain. This is why you should always pay attention to details. A woman was brushing her hair when she found a little bump at the back of her head, so she called her husband to have him check it out for her. He said it looks like a button. It's small, round, hairless, and flat at the top. He joked around it with her, asking, "What do you think would happen if I pressed it?" Then he did, and the woman instantly leaned up and gave him a kiss. Then the husband kept pressing it as a joke, but something went wrong. It seemed like he pressed it all too many times, and a cool numbness spread down the woman's neck, around her arms and her legs. Her eyes automatically shut, and her vision went black. A while later, the woman woke up and learned that she had fainted. The husband kept apologizing with tears in his eyes as if it was all his fault. Eventually, they both went about their lives and tried to forget about this incident, but the woman just couldn't, because afterwards, she came across a photo of her family in the living room. It was a photo of her and her husband's wedding propped up on a ceramic urn. She looked closer at the photo of her own face. She's smiling as if she's the happiest girl in the world, but there's a small scar under her left eyebrow, a scar that she now didn't have.
Warning, this is why you should not touch an old house. A woman recently bought an old house in a very remote area. She wanted to renovate the home, and very quickly she began tearing down the kitchen and ripping all the old wallpaper off. She claimed the wallpaper was extremely satisfying to rip off, like scabs of a sunburn. Very quickly she noticed names and dates in places she was removing the wallpaper. One night,
discovered they were missing people, and the dates they went missing matched what was written on the wall. She called the police, and when they arrived, they said, "Yep, it's human. What you were removing from the walls was not."
5 surprise toy mini brands, now with 40 more of your favorite toys made mini. Can you find the super rare gold? Out now!
25 toys mini.
Wallpaper.
Did you know that there's actually a haunted Ronald McDonald bench in Mexico? This is actually one of the most bizarre stories that I've ever heard. The story goes that 2 young men had just left the nightclub and were very hungry and went looking for a late night snack. They both settled on having McDonald's, and once they had gotten their food, they both took a seat on the Ronald McDonald bench outside of the restaurant. It was a strange bench because it had a statue of Ronald McDonald sitting in the middle with his arms spread out. His face almost had this crazed expression. And one of the men eventually laid down on Ronald's lap and said, "I'm tired." Just then, Ronald McDonald's head turned and looked down at him and said,
I'm tired too.
the legend says they were so shocked by hearing this that one of them died instantly and the other is still in a coma to this day. Apparently, the security cameras outside the restaurant recorded everything. So it is rumored that McDonald's paid a huge amount of money to cover it up, because they didn't want the public to find out they had an actual really dangerous haunted McDonald's statue.
These are what your dreams say about you and your life. If you ever dream that you're falling, it means that something in your life isn't going well. It suggests that you may need to rethink a choice in your life or consider a new direction in some area of your life. If you ever have a dream that you're being chased by something or someone, it suggests that you're trying to avoid something daily in your life. It also suggests that you're trying to forget something that makes you feel angry, sad, or any other type of emotion. If you've ever had a dream about losing your teeth, it indicates you're concerned about your ability to communicate or doing something embarrassing in public.
Biggest Barbie dolls that was ever sold in stores. This was called the Barbie Video Girl doll that came out in 2010. She came with a real working camera disguised as her necklace, and a video was projected onto her back. The issue here is that it could record up to 30 minutes of video, and even the FBI became worried about what this children's toy could be used for. People were concerned that this video Barbie was always